What is up, everybody? In this video I wanted to do which main JoJo has the strongest mental state. Who is strongest mentally? Which JoJo is strongest mentally? Now, this is not saying any of the JoJos are weak mentally, because if you're dealing with any of this on the daily like they are, how are you not insane? But we're just going to jump right into this video. Who is the strongest mentally? Now, I'm not going to bash any other JoJo, because to be honest, all these JoJos are stupid strong mentally. They all have, just as much as their physical strength, they have mental strength as well. But I'm just going to be giving them like a score out of 10 on which one has a more stronger mental state, out of 10 at least. Now, first is Jonathan Joestar. Now, Jonathan Joestar he's definitely pretty strong mentally, I'm not gonna lie. I can rarely see or remember any points in Jonathan losing his cool or going crazy. Most of the time he just gets a bit emotional or sad, which I guess could be maybe not being as mentally strong, but I wouldn't say that, because Jonathan usually does keep his cool most of the time. He does get worried sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Who wouldn't be worried? Which JoJo never gets worried? I mean, come on now, everyone gets worried. But Jonathan, I think he does have a pretty solid mental strength. I'm pretty sure he does. Jonathan is strong mentally. I'd say out of 10, I'd give Jonathan probably like a 7 or 8. I'll give him an 8. I rarely see Jonathan worry. Even with pipes in him or things that are stabbed, even when he was dying, my man was calm and collected. He accepted his fate. He's never been one to be super, oh man, I'm kind of scared in this moment, I can't remember any point where Jonathan wasn't super calm and collected. Most of the time he is, but rare occasions he does get worried. But accounting for his death, all that other stuff, I can't say Jonathan is super. He can keep a cool head and doesn't let stuff get to him mentally like that. Even when his dad died in his arms, he wasn't he was kind of messed up from it, but he was probably stronger than what most people would be. So, solid A for Jonathan, maybe 8.5 even. Not bad rank for Jonathan. After Jonathan is Joseph Joestar. Joseph Joestar's mental strength. This is a tough one, because on one hand I feel like this dude is a powerhouse when it comes to it mentally, but on the other hand I'm like, is he though? Because I feel like he worries. I feel like he even messes up sometimes or gets in over his head, then starts to get angry or loses shit. I really want to say that Joseph has a high mental state, because I do think Joseph is, I'd say cleverness and being smart and a tactical genius is different than mental state. I think Joseph can be worried, and even though he does hold his own calmness, because every JoJo can basically hold their own when it comes to being calm in certain situations, Joseph, I don't know, man. Joseph just maybe sometimes loses it a bit more than others. Now that's not to say Joseph doesn't have really strong mental state. I think he does, but it's just Joseph, bro, I don't know, bruh. I really want to say that he does have a strong mental state, but I think that's more cleverness. I don't think it's weak, but compared to some of the other JoJos, I don't think it's super strong. I already know I'm gonna get heat in the comments for it, saying, Joseph maybe doesn't have it as strong, but I feel like he's very, very, emotional and loses his temper sometimes, even gets pissed off. Yes, he's clever and he's smart, but mental state, I don't know, man. Obviously none of these characters have mental illnesses like that. Maybe Jotaro, but Joseph, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to give him a 7. A 7 out of 10. You could be like, what? After all he's done against the Pillar Man and kept his cool? Yes, I'm gonna say a 7. I don't think he's as crazy as Joseph or Jonathan, but he's up there. I'm not gonna lie. After Joseph Joestar obviously is Jotaro. Now Jotaro, mentally at least, is definitely a weird one. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to tell with him, but I would probably say Jotaro is probably like a 9. Now you could be wondering, why is he not a 10? Why is Jotaro not a 10? Now I'd say Jotaro does have an extremely strong mental. He has an extremely strong he's extremely strong mentally, my bad. But I do think he's not perfect, and he does trip sometimes, and even the times he does trip and act like he's not, at least when he's pissed off, like against Dio, nah, he was tripping. Nah, he's tripping. Or how pissed off he gets, or how he can basically throw temper tantrums sometimes and just do it angrily. That is not what I would consider someone with perfect mental strength who lets emotions get the better of them sometimes, because Jotaro does let that happen a lot. Now, yes, he can control them sometimes, like against Steely Dan, or Dan of Steel, whatever his name was. He was taking punishment, and even before that, he did screw up and was like, Jotaro, if you hit your dad, if you hit him, you're gonna hurt your dad. And Jotaro can take it and hit him for a second, and then was like, oh, I can't do this because I don't want to hurt my granddad. Not his dad, his granddad, Joseph. So Jotaro does have a really strong mental state, but I don't think it's perfect. 10 out of 10 is perfect to me. Like, they are just immovable, and I don't know anyone who's got perfect mental state. Maybe the end duel, maybe, but even then he just, I mean, he literally killed himself. So I mean, that's not right, bro. That's not good, mentally. But Jotaro, I wouldn't say is, because of the anger he feels most of the time. Now, I'm not gonna say he doesn't, so I would give him a 9. I would give him a solid 9, which is stupid high. That's higher than Joseph and Jonathan, so that's not a bad score. But also, he does lose his shit sometimes, so I can't even lie. And I know a lot of people say that Jotaro has PTSD from some stuff that he's went through. Now, PTSD, I don't know. I know a lot of people say he has signs of PTSD, and he probably might have it based on what we've seen, or few things we've seen. I don't know that for sure, so I can't say if he does or not, because yeah, he may look at pictures and be sad about stuff, about people he's lost, but I don't think that means PTSD. Now, he definitely could, but I need a little more evidence, or maybe you guys can explain it better to me in the comments down below. For Jotaro, at least, That's not to say he could have it, but I'm not gonna make his score lower because of that, because I don't have enough proof of that, and he doesn't even show it like that. So still a 9 for Jotaro, obviously. Now, after Jotaro is Diamond is Unbreakable's Josuke. Josuke mental problems? No, I don't think he's got any crazy mental problems or anything. He does have a strong mental prowess, but he does have a couple of bras. So off the bat, I'm just gonna say he's probably got a 6 or a 7. Because one, he's just a high school student who, yes, he's Jotaro's a high school student too, but Josuke, I feel like, folds mentally a bit more than Jotaro does. Now, when Jotaro gets pissed off, yeah, he gets pissed off, but he can still keep his cool for the most part. When Josuke does about certain things, it's different. Like, maybe Josuke could keep his cool against someone else, like hitting him or disrespecting him, but as soon as you make fun of Josuke's hair, he's popping. He can't control himself, and he's gonna get pissed off. And that doesn't, to me, seem like mental strength, at least. He's so much so that he can't even see sometimes. I think that could backfire on Josuke if you know how to mess with it. Now, Josuke also does panic a lot, and sometimes he folds, but for the most part, he doesn't. For the most part, at least. And sometimes he gets scared of things like turtles, which is just like, oh man, my bad, Bolden Ref, but it's kind of weird. Things like that are just doesn't make me feel like, oh, Josuke is like peak mental strength at least. Now, that's not to say he keeps his cool within a lot of stuff against Kira, against a lot of other bad guys. But as soon as some of them make fun of his hair, he just, like, can't take it no more. He literally can't take it. So that's just a huge problem with Josuke, I feel like. Maybe people say, oh, well, that doesn't make him that weak. But it's like, I don't know. Just, like, to me, that just doesn't feel like he's keeping his cool as much as the other JoJos, like Jotaro or those guys. Because even when they get mad or lose their shit, they can somewhat keep their cool. Josuke just can't to me. But that's just me, and I would give him like a 6 or a 7. But that's just me. Because Josuke does get pissed off at other things too. But I love Josuke. He's probably like second or third favorite JoJo to me. I love Josuke, but I don't think he's really strong mentally. You guys can tell me why you think he is strong mentally in the comments down below, but to me, I think he's a 6. But after Josuke is Giorno Giovanna. I would say Giorno is like a 9. I rarely see Giorno ever really get like super pissed off to a point where he loses his shit. Rarely. Now, I don't think he's perfect, obviously. But if there was any JoJo so far that I've ranked that is near perfect, it's Giorno. I think Giorno rarely loses his shit like that. I can't say, because he probably does have a lot of mental problems considering how he grew up. Because so far, out of all these people, maybe Jonathan has a tough time growing up, but Giorno had probably like the worst so far that I've ranked at least. So he probably does have mental problems, but he doesn't show it at all, so I can't say he does or have any mental illness at all, or he just seems like he's dumb strong mentally, like you can't break his mental fortitude. I rarely can think of times that happens for Giorno, so if there was going to be a 10, it would definitely be Giorno, but I'll probably give him a 9.5. But I can't remember any time Giorno genuinely lost his shit. Now, I'm not going to give him a 10, because Giorno 10, no, I don't think he's a 10, man, but, because he does sometimes get worried and starts to sweat and gets a little anxious and maybe a bit stressed out, but for the most part, he's chill. He's keeping his cool. He does get worried maybe, and sometimes doesn't even know what to do, but I think for the most part, Giorno is definitely super cool and collected most of the time, and rarely gets, like, super worried like that. So Giorno's probably like a 9.5 if anything, you know, really close to a 10. But after Giorno obviously is Jolyne from Stone Ocean. Now Jolyne, mental fortitude is, I would say she's probably a bit stronger than Joseph, maybe Jonathan. Jotaro, probably not. Josuke, she's probably stronger than Josuke mentally. Because at first she was definitely tripping and was a bit worried a lot, but as Stone Ocean went on, I could just see Jolyne just getting stronger mentally over the course of all of Stone Ocean. Now, that's not to say she doesn't worry at all, because I don't think she's, you know, like, I think she's on par with Jotaro, but not Giorno levels. Because I do think Jolyne probably gets pissed off sometimes and does get a bit worried quite a few times. So I think she's around Jotaro, a little less than him, but definitely more than Joseph and Jonathan and Josuke. So, because Jolyne definitely keeps her cool, but not all the time. Not all the time. But that she still has stupid strong mental fortitude. So out of 10, Jolyne would probably be like, Jotaro was like a 9. I'd probably give Jolyne like an 8.5, 8.7 maybe even. I don't like to go too much into decimals, but I don't want to put Jolyne on the same level as someone like Josuke or Joseph, you know, like, no, she's definitely above Jonathan to me, but I just can't see Jolyne being on that level as them, so definitely 8.9, 8.7 for Jolyne. Now after Jolyne is Steel Ball Run, which is Johnny Joestar. Johnny Joestar, I'd say Johnny Joestar is on par with I don't think he's, I'd say he's around Giorno level. Truly, maybe a little lower than Giorno, so probably like higher than Jotaro, but lower than Giorno. Around like 9s, maybe 9 point something for Johnny, so probably like 9.1 for Johnny, while Giorno's probably like a 9.5. But I think Johnny Joestar definitely is a lot stronger. Well, not a lot, but a little bit stronger than Jotaro mentally. Yeah, he does get pissed off sometimes. Yeah, he does act irrationally, but I don't think he loses his shit or gets super worried. Now, I think in the earlier parts of Steel Ball Run, he was. I think it's the same thing with Jolyne, but towards the end, like, Johnny was not tripping, bro. Like, Johnny was on his shit, he knew what he was doing, it felt like, and I just feel like Johnny was unbreakable. Kind of like, no pun intended, like, no pun intended, but Johnny's, Joestar's mental fortitude was definitely dumb strong, and I think it did waver sometimes, because, you know, Johnny obviously had a bra past, but I think it did waver a couple times against certain people, because he did act a bit irrationally sometimes. It did get quite worried sometimes. Maybe Gyro might have a stronger mental fortitude, but I still think Johnny has a pretty strong mental fortitude to keep up that. So he's probably a bit lower than Jotaro, maybe. So just a bit lower, but I'd say he's around the same level as Jolyne, to be honest. And you guys let me know what Josuke from part 8 is, and maybe part 9 if you want to tell me what you guys think Jojo is in part 9. But that's going to be it for this video, you guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Peace. Now